engaging celebrity interviews, exciting updates from Christian filmmakers, movie reviews so you can choose your movies wisely, and so much more here on Faith on Film with Isaac Hernandez and Holly McClure.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Faith on Film. I'm Isaac Hernandez, your host, and I will be flying solo today. But don't you worry, because we have a great interview that I'm going to share with you that Holly did with Jon Irwin, who is, of course, the creator of House of David, a great series on King David, which is available on Amazon. This is an interview that we shared, maybe 3 months ago, but I think you're going to want to hear it. If you've heard it before, you want to hear it again, and if you haven't heard it, you really do need to hear it. So stay tuned, because before that, I've got a very special guest. My guest is Stewart Iverson, who has a degree in film, TV, and digital media. He co-created, co-wrote, and co-directed all 46 episodes of Hulu's former #1 web series, Dorm Life, which racked up 3 Webby Awards, 2 Streamy Award nominations, as well as 2 W3 Gold Award wins. Now, after a spiritual transformation, Mark founded MSI Films and independently wrote and directed and produced the award-winning film For Profit. So it's going to be a great interview with him. But before we get to him, let's take a look at the trailer for Profit. Mark, welcome to Faith on Film.
Thank you, Isaac. Love being here.
So we just took a look at the trailer to For Profit, but maybe you could just give us more of a bird's eye view, more comprehensive look at what the movie is all about.
Sure. Yeah. So it's modern day. It's a Wonderful Life in a nutshell. It's about a guy tasked by an angel to save his hometown. And he's got this demon that's been attached to him as well. So it becomes this angel versus demon, spiritual warfare. But there's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of good drama. There's a lot of faith, of course. And it's my directorial debut.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you directed this, but you also produced it, of course, and you wrote it.
Yes. Trifecta. Yeah. This is my first produced screenplay. This is my first directorial feature, and I'm the producer, and I put in a good amount of the cash monies as well. So
financier.
Financier as well. So yeah, kind of the quadrant there. But it is certainly, certainly my baby. Yes.
Now, what inspired you, first of all, to do a comedy? Because I know, I'll be honest with you, comedies are pretty difficult, especially in the Christian space, because people just seem to get offended by comedy, because in comedies, one of the natural things about comedy is you make fun of things. You make fun of Christians, you make fun of people, you might make fun of pastors, you might make fun of, and sometimes people just don't get it, that it's just comedy, and they get a little offended. So whatever possessed you to write a comedy, whatever possessed you to write a comedy?
Well, touched by the Spirit. I come from comedy. That's the thing. That's where I cut my teeth. So I was a filmmaker well before I was a disciple. I grew up in the church, but I fell away from it. But I started making movies when I was 15, and I knew that was my trajectory in life. And when I got into college, I got into a sketch comedy group. I was at UCLA Film School, and I got into the sketch comedy group. And that's when I started to actually make things that people truly, objectively responded to positively. Before that, and the stuff I made in high school, people were like, "Oh, this is great. You finished it. Way to go." But when I started to make the comedy in college, people were genuinely like, "This is tremendous work." And, with laughter, you can't fake it. I mean, you can fake it, but it's an involuntary response. And so I started to realize I was actually able to make people laugh with filmmaking. And so I doubled down on that. I did 10 years of comedy filmmaking mostly in LA, but I wrote a lot of screenplays that were comedy. I directed, obviously, a lot of sketch comedy, I did a web series, 26 episodes of a web series on Hulu for a while. And then I got into faith filmmaking. Then God called me into his realm and to come into the kingdom and to spread the gospel. And so in doing that, I merged the two things that I love the most, which was filmmaking and comedy and faith. And so I actually tried to make several other features before this one. There was a sports drama with some comedy elements. There was a kind of a horror, David Lynchian horror kind of thing. There was a weird wedding drama movie, all of which those films did not get off the ground. And then I wrote this one, and this one had the comedy elements, had the comedy structure, but it had the deep faith. It had a lot of good morals, had a lot of good values. It had the God touch. And when this screenplay came out of me, that's when things started to actually move to make this feature. The financing came together. You know, I had already raised my end of the financing, but the financing came through finally, fully with this one. We had great cast that came together. The locations came together. It was just one of those things where God was just moving on this one. And so this was the one that came out. And I'm so blessed to God for making it happen.
Now, right before I went into that little brain freeze, when I was asking you about what possessed you to write a comedy, the other thing that I was thinking of was this particular story. How did you come up with this story?
Sure. Well, I'd always kind of mused on the idea of a man tasked by an angel to do something. You know, I mean, it's not just that It's a Wonderful Life is a huge movie in my life, which it is for pretty much every American. But I've always just been really fascinated by spiritual forces, angelic forces. Even when I was secular, you know what I mean? The idea of supernatural beings coming into our natural life has always fascinated me. So I always kind of wanted to tell that kind of story. So I had that in mind for a while, and even I had the title For Profit kind of for a while, but it was more of a drama. I actually thought for a while maybe it might be a novel. I wasn't sure, but it was kind of put aside. Then I had this other short film that I kept thinking about for a while too. It was about a guy who was obsessed with the idea that there was a cameraman always following him, and he knew it was a hallucination, but he was obsessed with it. And it was something that would not go away. And that was another short film that I had written and thought about shooting for a while. And then it didn't happen. And so I just kind of put it. And finally, God said, hey, what about putting those two ideas together? And when I realized that, it was angel and demon. It was this obsession of this guy seeing this cameraman always following him, and it was a demonic force. And then tasked by an angel to save his hometown, all this stuff. And then boom, click, clack, click. You got yourself angel versus demon, and it's the human condition, right? It is the absolute human condition. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are, what your religion is, what your background is. Everybody's got an angel and demon on their shoulder. And so when I realized that, I was like, wow, this is not only coming from the faith perspective, this is a universal story. And when I realized that, and plus the comedy structure and my comedy background, I was able to kind of infuse the drama and the faith, but also make it lighthearted.
Very nice. Yeah, because usually when somebody writes a screenplay or they do a movie where it's got the let's call it the battle between the good and the evil, the demon and the angel, it's usually either a heavy drama or even a thriller.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
So it was nice to kind of infuse comedy into it instead. It just, I don't know, it made it more palatable to me anyway.
Thank you. Right back at you. I love it. Not only do I love it, but it's in me. It's in my DNA. You know, God put it there. And you certainly, like, I think of movies like Constantine. Constantine is a fantastic movie. Again, secular in a way, big Hollywood production, but angels and demons and all that stuff. And you think, it's got the action, the thriller. The thing that really touched me, and I know this is a rated R movie with lots of bad language, but the movie that really inspired me when I really, really get down to it is two movies, but the one most recent is Dogma, the Kevin Smith film, which is, again, not saying, you're 12 years old, go out and watch Dogma because, not the greatest language. But that said, it had a comedic perspective on the mythology, on the spiritual world, on spiritual warfare. And it was one of the things, actually, that movie really allowed me to understand that I can have humor in my life and I can be serious about God. I can laugh at things and I can take things seriously, because that movie helped me in my faith journey as a filmmaker. Because as a young filmmaker, it was hard to find movies that had this deep faith and had this comedy touch. And that movie, and actually, strangely enough, that movie is being re-released right now. Kevin Smith's got the rights back and they're re-released in theaters. I'm excited to go see it again.
Well, the Bible does say that laughter, does a heart good like medicine. So
Amen.
we
Amen.
definitely need laughter. So now, where can people watch this movie now?
So our main push is Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video. It's they're streaming for free with ads right now. The also Roku channel. We just got on there a couple of months ago, so watch it on the Roku channel free with ads. Of course, we got the DVD out there on Amazon and Walmart.com as well. But forprofitfilm.com, you can see all the different. We're in the U.S., Canada, and the UK right now. We're going international later this year. So.
And if they want to follow you personally, do you have a website or a Facebook page, somewhere where they can know more about what you're doing?
Absolutely. MSIfilms.com. Mark Stewart Iverson, MSIfilms.com. And then, of course, MSI Films at Instagram and Facebook.
Wonderful. Well, Mark, thank you for being with us. I'm assuming you've got something already in the works for the near future?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We shot last year a proof of concept for my next feature that I'm directing. Yeah, it's called Prodigal Sons. Incredible writer, producer I'm working with, Jameson Lingle. She went to UCLA with me. And yeah, that passed the Angel Guild. We are raising money right now. We're still trying to figure out exactly what we're doing with it, but we shot a really great proof of concept and
Great.
Putting it up in God's hands right now. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you once again, man.
thank you. Bless you, Isaac. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back, folks.
You've probably felt it. The world's moving faster than truth can keep up.
And in this flood of AI mush and clickbait noise, something quiet but urgent rises. It's Prairie Winds, the flagship series from 3 Days Studios.
Prairie Winds reflects everything that we stand for. Faith in action, truth with grace, stories that revive.
So I think anybody who's interested should jump into this because I think it's a chance to change the culture in so many ways.
What do you have to gain?
Pretty much everything.
I have loved you every day, every hour, every minute, every second ever since.
We don't always get what we want, but we always get what we need. We're connected, all of us.
For Profit, available through many streaming platforms. Just look for it and it'll tell you where all you can find it. But as promised, I want you to check out this interview that Holly did with Jon Irwin. Now, Jon Irwin serves as Chief Executive Officer at Kingdom Story Company, as well as writes and co-directs feature films with his brother Andrew. He has produced several films, including I Can Only Imagine, Jesus Revolution, Unsung Hero, and The Unbreakable Boy, as well as many others. I really don't have time on this show to tell you all the stuff that he has done, but he has done quite a few films. But of course, here he is today to talk about House of David, which is a wonderful series that's been doing amazing on Amazon Prime. It's the story of King David. And I got to tell you, I've seen the entire series. It is way up there not in quality. I mean, this is high network value type production. So you don't want to miss it. Again, available on Amazon. And from what I understand, they are already in production of season 2. That's how well it did on Amazon for season 1. It's now going to be available for season 2. I'm not sure when, but I guarantee you when it is available, we will probably have Jon back on so he can talk to us more about that. But anyway, here is this interview that Holly did a few months ago with Jon Irwin. But before we go to that, let's check out the trailer to House of David.
I was so excited to see this and can't wait to see the rest. It was phenomenal. I mean, this was beautifully. Oh my gosh, above and beyond. Excited when you know you've seen something that's a marker that is going to, be popular, not only with just Christian audience, but all over the world. This is an amazing story.
Thank you so much to me. Thank you.
Oh, such an amazing story. I can't wait. Isaac and I are going to do a whole half hour on it. So we're excited to do this and cover it. But I really wanted to ask you, first and foremost, there's kind of a controversial thing. Let's talk about the fun stuff. There's many people that don't believe that David was illegitimate. And of course, this is part of your story that he does. Why did you choose that And where did that come from to feature that in the story?
Yeah, that's a great question. And of all the things that we really wrestled to the ground, and really researched and researched and researched, it's this question of David's origin. And, I really felt a necessity to develop a storyline that tried to explain how David spoke of himself. He talks of himself as illegitimate, as an outcast, not only in his family, but to his community. And then you have the very glaring fact that all of Jesse's sons were called before the prophet Samuel except David. So I was like, why was this kid hidden away? Why would David write about himself and say he was illegitimate and disdained and despised in his own family and then also in his town? And then the greater metaphor that God really does choose the outcasts, he uses the weak things of the world to confound the wise. And so we went very deep into rabbinic tradition that's very difficult to understand and portray. And so we developed this storyline to try to bring, a visual and emotional portrayal of his relationship with his mother and some sort of exploration that might explain how David spoke of himself. Whether or not you agree with that choice, because that's the biggest gap we had to fill in, because there's no mention of his mother of substance in the Bible at all, except there's one verse. And so, but there is the way he spoke about himself and his origin that is glaring and apparent and a big part of his story. And so this is at the very least a conversation that I look forward to people having, because I think so many of us feel like we are the outcast or that the thing that's despised or we don't feel legitimate. We all feel like David spoke about himself, at one time or another.
I had never really thought about that. So it was interesting to me as I watched it to like, oh, this is a new concept. I mean, I've heard the story of David and Goliath since birth. So, it's not something that you feel like you can get new, but this was a lot of new. And because there are a lot of things that are not spoken, you pick up on that. And I love how it's done. I know it's hard to say because there's so many hours of amazing, incredible, epic performances, but do you have one of your favorites, or was there a favorite or two scene or something that dear to your heart when we see it?
There's so many. I mean, first of all, I'm a fan of the material, and the fact that Prime Video globally, Amazon, has given creative control to believers is unbelievable in this, and it's a testament to the loudness of our voice as a community, whether it's in support of something like The Chosen or my films like Jesus Revolution, or I can only imagine they've done this. And so, at the very, I'm first a huge fan of the material. Yes. So there were moments where we're filming David, Goliath, and Michael, who's this amazing Christian kid as well, first role. We were literally like, we're doing David and Goliath. Like, we're filming David and Goliath. This is crazy. And so that was amazing. But then also some of the material that Stephen Lang, who plays the prophet Samuel, and one of the great actors of our time, whether it's in Avatar or Tombstone. I mean, he's a fundamental actor. He's amazing, great, and amazing character actor. Some of the material that he delivers, which is sort of the deeper meaning and thematic material of the series, he has a scene where he talks to David's father later in the season, where he says basically that the sacrifices that are most meaningful are the ones that are most precious to us. Yes. You have to offer God the very best, the things we care most about. And that's a very, very profound scene for me, and they do an amazing job. So I love that moment, but then there's nothing like portraying David and Goliath. That moment where Michael gets up, spoiler alert, David kills Goliath. I'm just going to say it. It's in the Bible.
Well, you know what? I never thought about him falling down. I mean, I never thought about that. There were so many new things you introduced. I'm like, wait, what? It was great.
Yeah. It's I wanted him to rise up, and so I wanted to knock him down so he would get back up. And I hope the audience as well, you're cheering for him to get back up on his feet, which he does. But it was a pretty amazing thing to portray, and Michael's so good in it, and I just can't wait for the audience to see it. We've been working on this for a very, very long time, and we've just poured our hearts and souls into it. And there's almost 700 people working on the series.
Oh
my
God!
And so it's just this amazing group, and I can't wait for people to finally get to see it. And I made some films that I love and I'm very proud of, and made them with wonderful people. But this is the first truly global release in my career. So it's going to be, released all over the world on February the 27th.
And because you know this, I worked with Mel Gibson on The Passion, but I had the same excitement for you on this, because I think this is going to reach beyond what audiences may even think. It's going to reach beyond that, and the way that it's going to be distributed, and it's going to be life-changing for so many people.
Well, that's high praise. And Mel is a master craftsman. I mean, he's just one of the great craftsmen in the film industry, and has really blazed the trail. And of course, Dallas, who's just a wonderful friend, has created something so amazing with Chosen. And I have the good fortune of being like second in the water here, and calling him most every day to ask his advice on portraying the Bible. And I just hope people realize that I remember when some of the executives read the scripts for the first time, the first 3 scripts, they said, man, these scripts are really good. I'm like, it's based off a bestseller. You should check it out and read it. It's a really good book. And I hope that's what people do. I hope they see the series and it drives them to the Bible itself and to the Psalms of David. There's a profound truth to the Psalms, and I hope people read them.
Thank you, John. Thank you. I was going to ask you about working with John Gunn, but I'm out of time. But I've worked with both of you, and I love it. I'm so proud of you.
John's the best collaborator you could ever ask for. I love him dearly, and would be lost and adrift without him. And his movie Unbreakable Boy is fantastic and coming out very soon as well.
What makes Capernaum Studios different from other movie studios? We believe in empowering filmmakers to make stories that matter, inspire, uplift, and transform lives. From historically authentic sets to state-of-the-art, fully equipped sound stages, we offer immersive LED and green screen stages, ICVFX virtual production, period to modern sets, a first-century village featured in The Chosen, and much more. We provide everything filmmakers need to focus on what matters in making their vision a reality, producing meaningful content affordably without compromising creativity. Discovering what's possible when creativity meets purpose. Capernaum Studios, empowering filmmakers to make dreams a reality.
Well, that does it for today's show. I sure hope you enjoyed those interviews. I'd like to invite you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Faith on Film TV. That's at Faith on Film TV. And of course, check out our website, faithonfilmtv.com. That's faithonfilmtv.com. And you know what? I want to invite you to write us an email. Why don't you let us know where you're watching this show from, what channel are you watching it at, or what streaming platform. We're trying to really find out where it is that our show is going and where it's doing the best. So just shoot us a quick little email, faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Well, that's it for today. Until next week, take care.
Write to us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Faith on Film TV. Also, go to our YouTube channel, Faith on Film TV, and hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications on our latest Faith on Film shows.